Well, folks, just like that, we're wrapping up the month of March of 2023 as we're heading into the last week, this week of March of 2023. So I figured, hey, let me do a quick video going over the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, and I want to talk to you guys about some key data coming out this week, later this week, that could have a huge effect on the market. So if y'all find value, of course, hit the like button, make sure to subscribe, and don't forget to get up to 17 stocks from Moomoo. The clock's ticking, guys. Time's running out. Use that link down below. More on that later. And with that being said, let's dive into the video. So if you guys recall, Friday was a pretty good day for the stock market. Let's do a quick little rundown on what happened last week. We'll break down the charts. You guys know the deal. Let's just do it right now. So Friday we had the S&P 500 go up 0.7% as the Russell went up 0.8%, the NASDAQ went up 0.3%, and we had the Dow Jones up 0.4% as the VIX went down 4%. So right off the bat, guys, last week was a week where there was a lot of volatility and we were pretty much moving all over the place. If I pull the VIX up here, you guys will see we were all over the place on the VIX. This thing was at 30 points, went back down to about 20. It almost got back to the teens. Then we had a spike up, I think on Thursday or Friday morning. Either way, it went up to 25 points. You guys can see here on the 10-day chart. Let me pull it up to show you guys. We went up to 25 points, and then we had a huge dump on the VIX throughout the day on Friday. If we pull up the intraday chart, you guys will be able to see that. So right off the bat, guys, the VIX is getting beaten down. On Friday, from the pre-market high to where it closed, the VIX went down 15%. So keep in mind right now, as we're heading into the last week of March here, the VIX is pretty, I don't want to say deflated, but let's just say it's pretty beaten down. Considering just about 2 weeks ago, it was over 30 as the whole banking crisis started to pop off. You guys remember that, right? Which we're still in the midst of that right now. So I'm not too convinced that heading into, this next week and the next couple of weeks, I'm not convinced right off the bat here, guys, that the VIX is going to remain in the high teens to low 20s range. I'm not convinced that that's going to happen. In other words, I would not be surprised if we did see another big spike in the VIX, maybe back towards the mid-20s, high 20s, heck, maybe back to the low 30s. So keep that in mind, guys. Right off the bat, I would not be surprised if the VIX were to spike up again, which is why, for that reason, I'm watching UVXY, which you guys may or may not know. This is essentially an ETF that tracks the VIX, right? To keep it in very simple layman's terms. You guys can see this ended up going crazy last week from 435. Well, that was actually 2 weeks ago. Either way, recently it went from 435 to 730, back down to 489, which is where we called it out last week. Then we had that huge run on Thursday heading into Friday pre-market. Then, of course, all day Friday, we ended up dumping intraday. But either way, guys, this pullback here, which, mind you, on Friday it went down 6%, this pullback could very well be a dip buy on UVXY. So right off the bat, heading into this week, guys, and I've said right off the bat like 10 times this video, but you get the point, right? Heading into this week, I'm watching UVXY very, very closely for a potential day trade, maybe even a swing trade. Although this, these ETFs that are very volatile, I usually only trade them, day trade them, but who knows? We'll see. Time will tell. Maybe I do swing trade this thing. I don't know. But UVXY, either way, is on the top of my watch list heading into this week, as we are at a point where SPY and Triple Q, we're at a big resistance, guys. Both of these are at major levels of resistance. You can see right here on SPY on the 1 hour chart, we're approaching the top of this trend line, which I just drew out. You guys see we're at a technical lower high at this point. You guys see all these other lower highs that have been made over the over the past couple of weeks, but at the same time, we're making these higher lows, distinct higher lows at that. You guys see this right here, higher low, boom. You guys see that. Another one right here, another one right here, another one right here. So we've got ourselves in a wedge on the 1 hour chart here on SPY. And on Friday, like you guys see here, we saw a nice spike towards the top of the wedge. So are we going to break out of 398 to 400? That's the $1 million question on the upside here, which we're not showing any signs of that quite yet. So for that reason, I'm going to set my alert at 398. I'll put one alert there, and I'll put another one. Let me do this now. Mark is at or above $400. Let me do that now. So if we do start breaking out of 400, 398, that could be a point where, hey, maybe we start running towards the highs from the beginning of this month, being about 405, 407. That's where this could be going. And of course, if we break 407 on SPY, we might be making our way towards the highs from earlier this year, late January, early February, where SPY was at about 415 towards 420. That's where this thing could be going. But as of now, again, we're in a wedge on that time frame, the 20-day chart, and we do have a head and shoulders here, like I've outlined time and time again on the channel. We have a clear head and shoulders on SPY, left shoulder right there. We got the head right there, boom. Then we have the right shoulder, which we called out many, many weeks ago. It played out, and again, it is still intact. And when it comes to triple Q, let me pull this up here, guys. Triple Q is a little bit different, actually a lot different than SPY is. This is a little bit... it looks a little bit more bullish, a lot more bullish to be honest, but it is still at a big resistance as of right now, being about 310, 312 bucks. You guys can see here, that's where this failed back in February multiple times, and we did momentarily break out of 312 last week. We got to about 315, but that didn't hold much. We ended up pulling back, then we ended up spiking again. On Thursday, I believe, we failed to break out of 315 again. We pulled back. Then we ended up spiking again, heading into close on Friday, but we failed to break above 315 again. So at this point, guys, we're arguably seeing a triple top here at 312, 315 on the 5-day, 5-minute. And again, that's a clear resistance from a couple weeks ago. This needs to break for the bulls. If the bulls do break out of, let's say, 315 and especially 320, if we get a clear break out of there this week, of course, that's going to be very good for the bulls. At that point, we literally don't have any resistance up until 335, which was the high from back in the middle of August. So triple Q looks like, hey, that's where it could be going. If we do end up breaking above this, $315 level. So I'm going to set my alert at 315. Mark is at or above on triple Q, and we'll see where it goes. And of course, I'm watching S triple Q this week, which is another leveraged ETF that I watch all the time. This goes up whenever the NASDAQ goes down. So let's say triple Q gets rejected at 310, 315. We start seeing a bloody week. Volatility starts creeping up. Again, I'm going to be trading UVXY, but another one is S triple Q, which is correlated with triple Q. So let's say the NASDAQ goes down 3% on the day. This will be going up 9%. There could be a lot of money to be made on this as a day trade. I mean, you could swing trade it, but for me, guys, I'm looking at it solely at this point as a day trade. So what do you guys think? We're in a very interesting spot heading into this upcoming week. I'd love to know your thoughts down below in the comments. And if you haven't gone up to 17 stocks yet for Moomoo, use that link down below. Open up an account. You get 1 free share of stock. If you deposit at least $100, you get 6 more free shares. And if you deposit at least $1,000, guys, you get another 10 stocks, totaling 17 free stocks. All the details are down below. And by the way, you got a couple more days to do that. Limited time. The clock is ticking. Get your free stocks. Link down below. And now let's quickly dive over here to, what the heck is it called? The Forex Factory? Yeah, let's dive over here and see what is going on this week in terms of key economic data that's coming out. And of course, this website here, and by the way, they don't sponsor the channel. You guys have probably seen this website for yourselves. This website gives you all the key economic data coming out, not only for the United States, but for other countries as well. Canada, we have Europe here as well, and you guys can see all the different countries, currencies, whatever the heck you want to call it. Here they're listed as currencies, but you guys get you guys get the point, right? So on Tuesday, let's see anything on the US USD on Tuesday. Not seeing anything on Tuesday, but I was seeing something on Thursday, I believe. Yeah, here we go. We got the final GDP number quarter over quarter coming out on Thursday. Let me zoom in to make sure you guys can actually see this. So this measures the annualized change in inflation-adjusted value of all goods and services provided, or produced rather, by the economy. And this is the final GDP number. If you guys didn't know, there are 3 versions of GDP released a month apart. As you guys can see right here, we have advanced, preliminary, and then we have final. The advanced release, as you guys can see here, is the earliest and thus tends to have the most impact. Again, advanced, preliminary, and final. We're going to get the final number on Thursday. What time is it here? 8:30 a.m. on Thursday. We also have unemployment claims, which you guys probably don't pay attention to that as much as you used to during the pandemic. You guys remember this number during the pandemic? It was one that we were talking about all the time. But we have that on Thursday as well, which shows the number of individuals who filed for unemployment insurance for the first time during the past week, which honestly is going to be an interesting number to track considering unemployment is quite low right now. It did creep up a little bit. I think it was at 3.4. Now it's at 3.6. And if this number spikes aggressively, hey, we might be, we might be seeing, of course, more unemployment, right? The unemployment rate going up. So although it's generally viewed as a lagging indicator, as you guys can see, the number of unemployed people is an important signal of overall economic health because consumer spending is highly correlated with labor market conditions, and unemployment is also a major consideration for those steering the country's monetary policy. No joke. It totally is, guys. And of course, we have the estimate right here, which right now, let's see here, the forecast is 198,000, where the previous was 192,000 for the previous month. So that's creeping up a little bit there, as you guys can see. And let's see the final GDP estimate. I didn't actually look at it. Looks like here the final GDP estimate is 2.7%. We'll see how it ends up coming in. Last month it looks like it was, or the previous was, 2.7% as well. So interesting stuff, guys. We have a big week coming up. Make sure you all subscribe because I do have another video coming out later today going over some stocks, some earnings that I'm watching, so you're not going to want to miss that. So hit that subscribe button. Make sure to hit the like button, and don't forget to check out my Patreon if you guys want to see my Patreon portfolio. Keep up with it. See how I build it over time, which I have 3 stocks in that portfolio. I just added another stock this past week, so check it out. Link down below. And don't forget to get up to 17 stocks for Moomoo. Again, the clock's ticking down below. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.